Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name's Michael and I'm an addict. And step 9, what I would say is make sure you're seeking guidance before you start doing it. Because my first experience on a step 9 was, I wasn't even on that step. And I went to an ex-girlfriend. She come round and she started saying, so when you said this, you was lying. When you saying I was going mad, you was lying. And I'm going, yeah, owning up to all this stuff. I'm doing more damage. That's my point of this, is like seeking guidance. You know, and my list, I have to talk about step 8 before I can speak about step 9 personally, because I had a list of definites, and I had a list of maybes, and I had a list of nevers. Because it says in step 9, became willing to make an amends to them all. Not that I was willing straight off the bat. And that was guidance and all, because my sponsor sat me down and went, look, stop looking at justifying why you've done that. Stop looking at that. Just look at your part. But it's really, really hard to do that. It's really, really hard to do that. But it was only through guidance that that's what I did. You know, and the amends with my family was, they didn't really want to hear it. All they said is, you just keep doing what you're doing. You know, and amends ain't about sorry. It's about how was it for you. And when I tried to say that to my mum, she went, don't worry about me, boy. I'm all right. As long as you're all right. And I've had some bad experiences with it and all. Step 9s, you know, gone up to people and they've gone and told me to fuck off. Don't want to see you again. And that's okay. That's okay. And they was the ones who I wanted to do amends to. The freedom I've got from it is, I'm going to mention it because it says why we are here. And it says, most of all we harmed ourselves for our inability to accept personal responsibilities. Well, that really enabled me to forgive myself. Because I couldn't make amends to other people and say sorry to other people if I hadn't felt any stuff for myself. And that felt uncomfortable, you know. And it was explained to me, my sponsor said to me, Michael, it's like diminished responsibility. He said, if you've got mental illness and you commit a crime, you're responsible for the crime, but diminished responsibility they're not in their right head. And he said, all the stuff you have done in your addiction, you wasn't in your right mind. So all the stuff I was feeling guilt and shame about, it just alleviated it. Because I'm not doing that now. He said, you're not behaving like that now, that you're clean. And it was just like, pressure cooker. It's the best thing I've ever done, you know. But and as I said, there's definites, maybes. A few of the maybes I've done. The definitely no's, I've done one of them, and I'm still not sure if I'm ever gonna, you know. But I'm open to the idea that one day I will. I'm not saying I never will. They're moving, you know, because a lot of stuff I can still look at in my childhood, which I think I had no fucking part in. You know, I had no part in. And then I'll behave in ways towards them people, which tells me I owe them amends. Well, maybe I do, but I'm just not in a position in my own self to be willing to do that. And that's why these programs are great, because it says become willing. There ain't no timeline when you've got to do it. My sponsor says, well, how free do you want to be? And I say, well, I am free. They're not running around in my head. You know, what's done's done. Some amends, the best thing I can do is leave them alone. Go nowhere near them, especially exes. It's the best thing I can do is keep away from them. I wish I'd have known that before I went and made that amends to them. And I wasn't even on that step. I wasn't even on the steps. I'd had a sponsor because I was going through a day program, and he just said, I'll get to know you. And I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I was going to meetings, I was hearing people saying they was doing steps this and how free they felt. And I thought, yeah, she come round, so I thought, I'll do it now. And her face contorted, tears bouncing down her cheeks. It looked like she wanted to punch me in the fucking face. But my head at the time was screaming, what a liberty. I'm pouring my heart out here. You should be thanking me. How mental's that? That's why you need to run stuff by people before you do it. I learned a valuable lesson now, and the best amends I can make to that girl now is to leave her alone. Keep away from her. And thank God I haven't bumped into her, because she don't live too far from me, and I haven't bumped into her. Financial amends? I don't know any. That's the truth of it. I didn't borrow money, I didn't owe people money, so I don't know any of them. As a child, I was a thieving little fucker, but I can't go into supermarkets and start giving them money. But my sponsor said, just give a bit to charity here and there. As and when you can afford it, give it to a charity. And I do that stuff. I don't do it as frequently as I probably should, but I do it. You know, and the best way to ask how my step nines have gone is ask my fucking family, really, because they're the closest ones to it. You know, I'm there for them now. Whereas before they wanted me away. My brother said, don't come near my, don't darken my door ever again. Now he phones me up and asks me about fucking business advice. Mad. I don't know why he's asking me about business advice, because my business advice got me locked up. But, you know, it works. I feel free, and that's what I think step nine's about. I know we're making amends to them, but it's about freeing ourselves. And I didn't get that when I first heard that. Well, how can I be free when I'm going over and telling someone like what I've done to them? But it has been my experience. Maybe I need to look at the nevers again, because I've still got the list indoors, and the maybes, because if I'm honest, I've procrastinated around a lot of it, because I don't want to. Not because I think of the response I'm going to get back. I think it's partly what I will start thinking of myself. Like, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't apologise for that. But, as again, I go back to that, how free do you want to be? But at the moment, I feel free. I was in prison, and I think you've heard me share it. You know, I was free in prison, which sounds amazing or ridiculous, but it's true. There was people in there on this spice ship, walking round. Oh, it was sad and pitiful. It was really, really sad, and they're saying it's a bird killer. And I'm thinking, no, it's a life killer. You're still going to be here for the same amount of time. So I tried to help him now. There's another, well, I don't know if that's amends, but that's what this is all geared to for me. It's about helping others. You know, and that's what I've learned in here, is to help someone else. Not for what you're getting out of it, because you can. And anyone who knows me well, knows I'll do that, and I've done it in abundance. Even to the detriment of arguments with girlfriends, because I've got them staying in my flat. And my argument was, well, it's my flat, not yours. You've got your own place. Who I have in my place is down to me. Because that's what this has given me the ability to do, and always to say no. When someone says do this, I go, no. Regardless of how they take it. Because for me, it's the right thing to do. Before, I wouldn't say no. I probably would have told them that they couldn't stay, because my cousin was staying or something, just to appease the girlfriend. I don't do that anymore. Step 8, I've added to that list since I've been clean. You know, I've added to it. And I need to get another sponsor, and I need to go through this work again. Because what my time clean has told me is the further I've been away from using, and I'm over 18 and a half years clean. I ain't used a mind-altering substance for over 18 and a half years. But it's always a day at a time. Because I think I've joined a club in my nut. I don't use no matter what. I come to meetings and I share what goes on between my ears, because that's where my problem lies, between my ears. I'm not a great truster of people. that comes from childhood stuff. Don't trust people. But I'm saying that, I know it's not step 9, but it's a note to myself. Because I have to reinforce in myself that there's certain stuff, Michael, you need to keep doing. Otherwise, this step 9 is going to get fucking bigger and bigger and bigger. So it don't matter how long you're about, you still need guidance. And another note to self, I didn't seek guidance, and hence I ended up in prison. So anyone who's got perfect recovery, and we shared about it just before, I'll give them a wide berth. If you ain't made no mistakes in recovery, well, good luck to you. I've made loads. But the biggest mistake I've ever made is I haven't picked up, no matter what. No matter what. It's never been the answer to any problem I've ever had. In fact, it causes problems for me, but also to my loved ones and society at large. It causes problems everywhere. And then I'd have to add more to my step 9 list. Yeah. I don't know what else more to say about step 9, apart from it's freeing. The stuff I felt guilt and shame and remorse about, I don't anymore. And I think that's the whole purpose of it. It's not about how they feel about it, it's about how it makes you feel that you've shone a light on it and got honest. See, I don't come from a place of honesty, I come from a place of dishonesty. You know? My nan used to say, loose lips sink ships, and never let anyone know what you're thinking. Fucking hell, I come in here and you was telling me to do the complete opposite. So to say, oh, I took to it like a duck to water would be lies. But I see how free people were, and I thank God for the people who come before me and guided me. Because when I was first about, you'd go to coffee shops and you'd be drinking coffee and chatting, and my sponsor pulled me to one side. He went, Michael, I said, what are you talking about in there? And I said, oh, he's talking about this one and he's talking about that one. He said, Michael, if you're in there talking about people, you owe them an amends. That's character assassination. What are you doing getting involved in gossip in coffee shops? And what are you doing talking about anyone else? It's none of your business. And I know that to be true because it can push people out of rooms and it can kill them. Because this is a killer illness. And I know that to be true because I lost my cousin to this illness and I've lost countless friends to this illness on the estate Arborough. Smack and crack come about, and within no time, this is 84 when I first took heroin. It was called Skag, didn't even know what it was. But it killed loads. My cousin, I've got a cousin now who don't live too far from here, who's on the gear. He got on it in prison. But I respect him for this. I've asked him if he wants to come to meetings, he wants to get clean. And he says, Michael, no, I don't want to stop. I respect him for that because I've spoken to loads of people over the years and they've gone, yeah. I'll meet you at a meeting, yeah. And they've got no intentions of it. And I haven't driven him mad. He's all right with his using. I weren't all right with mine. My using in the end made me hate me. And that's why it says put yourself at the top of your amends list. I hated me. And you'd ask me how I was, I'd say I'm all right. Because I was full of guilt, shame, remorse. And in fact, I couldn't even put them labels on it. Because I didn't know what guilt, shame, remorse was. The labels I put on it was I felt like a dog. And someone pulled me on that. Said, well, what feeling's that? I was nearly 40. Or I felt like a CUNT. He said, well, what feeling's that? I didn't even know what feelings I was feeling. Didn't have a clue. They gave me a feelings wheel. Oh, mate, but it was an eye-opener. I learned. This is the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. Recovery. By far. But sometimes it don't feel better. Well, diddums. You won't go in any graveyard and see a headstone says, here lies so-and-so, died of a feeling. But what you will get is people who died from trying to get away from them feelings. Through substances. That was my experience. trying to change how I feel with drinking drugs. And in recovery, knowledge, that is manifested in women. It's manifested in money. It's manifested in clubber. It's manifested in all different areas. You know, when they said about the whack-a-mole, that's been my experience. The desire to use drink and drugs had gone. And that's because of the process of what goes on here, doing the steps. And for me, anyone coming to a meeting and not working the steps, I don't mean instantly, but working the steps, it's like robbing a bank and leaving the money in it. And that was explained to me by an old timer. He said, you wouldn't rob a bank and leave the money in there, would you? No. He said, well, why are you going to meetings and not working the steps? Because that's where the freedom comes. It's through the steps. It's about looking at yourself. I spent my whole life looking at everyone else and being a victim of everyone else. I'm not a victim of anyone. I'm a victim of me, if I go with this. Hence I end up in prison. But guess what? I didn't blame anyone for that. No one at all. I learned from it. Fear, financial insecurity, admin. So when they say this can manifest in all different areas, it can, and in my experience, it will. Mm-hmm. It's just being aware of it. Yeah, so if you're new, welcome. I'm not trying to sell you anything. You know, if this didn't work, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be dead now, 8.5 years later. Because I know so many who are dead. And there's no coming back from that. Yeah. I come here tonight thinking I was doing a step 8 chair. I don't even think I've done a step 9 chair. But that's listening to me head. My head's the problem. If you get a good idea, run it by someone. Ideally your sponsor. Before you react and do it. And I will end on this, famous last words. As I said, I was a thieving little fucker when I was a kid. But I never went into the shopkeeper and said, by the way, mate, I'm going to be nicking your sweets in a minute. Because he'd have been on me, wouldn't he? So I'm thinking about doing something. Run it by a sponsor or close friends, ones who will tell me the truth, not fucking agree with you. I won't do it. So my best weapon, honestly, is grassing myself up. It's telling people what goes on between my ears. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you.